Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!
I was already a fan to begin with. I'm a fan of any woman that has the strength to be as powerful, if not more powerful, than men. And it's not a competition, but you know what I mean. The watching what you've gone through in your own life, it must have been really difficult for you to share, because powerful women, I know, including sometimes myself, have a very hard time being vulnerable. I think our own spiritual evolution, that I think in every relationship was my big issue. Every guy I dated was like, you're so, you appear so strong, like nothing phases you, nothing bothers you. You seem to go ahead and conquer anything. But I still had these little vulnerable things, but I thought vulnerability shows weakness. Is there anything in you that feels the same way personally in a relationship?
Well, of course, these days, the main relationship I have is with my computer. But having said that, I have been in many, many relationships and still am as a professional matter. But what I want to say is, look, all of us have our challenges, rich, poor, middle class, no matter our race, no matter our religion. As we get older, we get more and more challenges to face. You know, as the saying goes, life is what's happening while you're planning other things. And that's what it's all about. You just, like, who put this in my script? Who put this in that I would, be sexually abused or raped or assaulted? Who put this in my script? This wasn't what I knew. I mean, fairy tales didn't have that growing up. So life is very different. But the difference between people is how we meet the challenges, and what are going to be our coping skills, and what are we going to do about the anger that we feel about the injustice? Are we going to turn it inward, which I say is not a good thing, to turn it inward and turn to alcohol or drugs to soothe the pain and to escape? Or are we going to take that rage that we feel and use it as a source of energy, move it outward into constructive change, find out what can we do to make this a better world? Each of us can do something. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be an elected official. Everybody can do something in their life, whether it's take action on the job if you've been sexually harassed, report it to your HR person. If you have been the victim of injustice by a rich, powerful, famous figure, and you see, in Seeing Allred, you see a lot of my clients who are speaking out because they allege that they have been victims, for example, of Bill Cosby.
Right.
And they are speaking out. And that's important. There's something you can do, whether it's take legal action, whether it's a lawsuit, a claim, going to the police, just speaking out, going on MeToo, hashtag MeToo, which I'm not saying people should do. There are risks on that, but they can decide they want to take that risk and speak out. There is something that they can do. Be a role model for people in your family to know that you are going to do something about injustice in a legal way. I used to say legal and peaceful, but sometimes I'm not so peaceful, so I'll just say in a legal way.
In a legal way.
And do what you can. And that's what you see in this film. You see what Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world.
That's one of my mottos that I wake up every day reminding myself of that. I've had my own injustice and done my crusading and am still going through it. The thing that surprised me, of course, was the things that have happened to you, that you were raped, that the abortion that you had to go through. You now helping all of these women, seeing it from that perspective of knowing these wounds that you had gone through with your arms around these women now. Mm-hmm. It elevated my admiration for you to a whole other level. This isn't just woman standing next to woman.
Right.
This is, I stood in your shoes, sister, and I've got you.
Well, that's exactly right, because it is in the women's movement. The life experience of the women in it, I think, that has mainly been the driving force, the motivator for why they are involved in the women's movement. Why you see so many women, millions in the Women's March in 2017, and so many this year in 2018 in cities, in states all over this nation, and in some countries around the world standing up, because what is happening in our world today resonates with their own life experience. And you see in the film, you see mothers who allege that they have been denied their child support. You see women who allege they've been raped or sexually assaulted. You see women there are women who have been battered women who are marching for justice. There are so many people who want this to be a better world, and they say, I'm going to make a difference. And they do it in their own way. Everybody doesn't have to do it in the same way. If you see an opportunity to stand up against injustice, make your voice heard. Help another person. Take them to a shelter. Help them to know what their rights are. You can take them to a lawyer. You can take them to the police. You can do whatever to be supportive. And I know that many people do that. And I know that men also often will do that. And that's important as well.
It is important. I'm talking to Gloria Allred, promoting the new documentary, Seeing Allred on Netflix. You'd mentioned that you can go the route of #MeToo, but that you said something that it could be tricky or dangerous.
There are risks.
What do you mean by that?
And that's important for people to know. So, Jenny, I'm glad you zeroed in on that, because some people are being sued for what they're saying on #MeToo. So, for example, if you're saying and you're naming a celebrity that celebrity raped you or sexually assaulted you, what you're doing is you're accusing that person of a crime. Accusing a person of a crime is potentially something that can get you sued for defamation by that celebrity. These celebrities, they have money. They have power. They can hire well-paid, very well-experienced attorneys to represent them. And often they do. And I'm getting emails and calls from women who say, I went on #MeToo, and then they tell me the name of the person they accused of this crime. And then they say, and I got a letter from his attorney, a cease and desist letter, saying that I'm going to be sued unless I immediately take down my posts and promise not to say anything further about him in the future. And some of them are sued for defamation, which is libel or slander,
right?
Which means that they then, the victims or the persons who believe they are victims, have to hire an attorney on an hourly basis to represent them, which can cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars just to defend themselves against the lawsuit, which of course they don't have the money to defend themselves.
Of course not.
So I'm saying you have to be really careful. Better to talk to an attorney before you decide to do that than having to face that potential lawsuit afterwards. It's dangerous. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but make an informed decision. Is that a risk you're willing to take?
Has there ever been women that have told you stories that your gut instinct says you don't believe?
Well, I've had many people who have contacted me, and I've spoken with them on the phone. And it may not be that I don't believe them, but it may be that I don't think there's sufficient evidence to prove a case, and so therefore we can't represent them in a case, or that it's too late. Too much time has passed. There's something called the statute of limitations, and you see more about that in the film, which is the arbitrary time period set by law during which you have to file a lawsuit or go to the police, and if you don't do it within that time period,
correct,
there can't be a prosecution, or you can't file a lawsuit. So it's different in every state. It's different for different crimes. It's different if you're an adult survivor, for example, of child sexual abuse, or if you're a child survivor of child sexual abuse. These are time periods. Of course, most people aren't going to know what those time limits are. So I'm saying if I can't take a case, it may be for a reason that has nothing to do with the merits of the case, nothing to do with whether I believe the person or not, but more to do with other factors. But it's always good for people to reach out and say, wait, do I have a case? Can you help me? Whether it's to me or someone else. And just to find out what your rights are. And
Smart.
That's what counts.
Seek counsel first. Again, I'm going to promote it. Seeing Allred on Netflix. Talking with Gloria Allred. It's unbelievable. I hope you guys watch it. Your daughter Lisa makes, she's in the documentary, of course, so much. She's so cute. I just can only imagine with my son Evan, who I'm sure I can already tell now he's going to be joining me on many my own type of fights and missions moving forward. How is it as a mother looking at your daughter who's following in your footsteps? Do you feel scared, confident? wanting her to, be in a protective bubble and no one hurt her feelings. I mean, what kind of emotions do you go through watching your daughter dive into this, shark tank?
It is. And my granddaughter, by the way, is also a lawyer. I sent my granddaughter to law school.
Wow.
And I'm very proud of her as well.
Absolutely.
And, as a mother, as a grandmother, we're always protective of our family members. But also, I know that both my daughter and my granddaughter are well suited to be able to understand the risks that they're taking and the benefits of the risks that they're taking, and that they can protect themselves. So I always was concerned about that when they were little, but as they become adults, both of them are, and my grandson's an adult as well, I do feel that they have the skills to be able to protect themselves in this very challenging world, and I'm very proud of all of them.
I would be too. When one of the biggest things I think that people noticed in terms of Lisa Bloom stepping into the onto the big stage was when she represented Kathy Griffin. As a mom, as one of the greatest attorneys ever, did you have words of wisdom for her after that?
No, because she has her separate law firm and she chooses who she represents, and I don't second guess her, and I don't criticize her because she makes her own decisions, and I know she makes the decisions that she thinks is best for her and her clients at the time. So I wish Kathy Griffin the best, and always wish my daughter the best because I love her and I respect her, and I think she's a terrific attorney.
I do too. Have you worried about your safety over the years?
I don't worry about anything because I feel that worrying is not a useful emotion for me to have. It's not a good investment of my energy. I'm more of a person who identifies options and then chooses an option and moves along. Look, it takes courage for anyone and everyone to be involved in the battle for change, the battle for respect and dignity for women and equal rights for women, and respect and dignity for minorities, racial minorities, gay, lesbian, transgender minorities. There's a risk in all of this, but there's also a risk in doing nothing.
Absolutely.
And I always have said to my grandchildren when I've been involved in various murder cases for victims or families of victims, that better a short life with courage than a long life in fear. And that's what I believe.
Oh, my God. That's so well said. I got the chills. Last thing, and I know we're running out of time. Is it dangerous to have the perception to be guilty in the court of public opinion?
Well, in the court of public opinion, there are no standards. It's not like a court of law. In a court of law, one is presumed innocent unless and until the jury or the judge finds guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. By the way, that's a presumption of innocence. It's not you are innocent. It's you are presumed innocent. In the court of public opinion, people can decide whatever they want using any standards they want, fair or unfair, and that's just the way it is. But the point is, I say to a lot of men who say, well, I'm not getting due process, people going on MeToo, and then I'm losing my job. Well, that's the court of public opinion. Yes, these things have changed. This is the year of empowerment of women, and we see that in the documentary. And that's a good thing. But, I think that if you want due process, sometimes women can't get into court because it's too late, because the statute of limitations prevents them from doing so. So I would suggest that men join us in our battle to eliminate the statute of limitations so that these issues can be decided in a court of law by a jury and not on Me Too.
Exactly. Well said, Gloria Allred. Thank you so much. Keep fighting for us. Thank you very much. Seeing Allred, you guys. Watch it on Netflix. I promise you, you'll be blown away.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you. Enjoyed having you.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!